But today we have a wonderful opportunity to welcome with us the governor of the great state of Utah, and I have the honor of introducing him to you. Governor Gary Herbert is someone who I consider to be a friend. He is a friend of liberty, a friend, I think, to each and every one of you, and one who truly understands and is grateful for the sacrifice of your loved ones. And so with that, I'd like to turn the time over to my friend and our governor, Gary Herbert.
Well, thank you, Representative Gibson. I'm really honored to be here with you this morning. And like Kerry has said, we honor your presence. We're grateful for you being here. We're grateful for the sacrifice that you have given as families to the idea, the dream that many people in the world have of freedom and liberty that too often we here in America take for granted. And it's you that help remind us the old cliche that freedom isn't free. There's a significant sacrifice in blood and treasure that comes with maintaining the life that we have here in America and giving opportunities for others around the world to enjoy what we just take for granted every day. So you're the face of that, and I appreciate the fact that you're around and involved to help us to never forget. I appreciate what George Lutz is doing here and trying to bring us together, and his quest of going around the country and talking to everybody and anybody about these important issues. Now, let me just mention to you just two things as I've been thinking, what can I say that will be of any importance to you? One, I'm the governor of the great state of Utah. I'm proud of that. I'm humbled by the opportunity and challenge. But I did serve in the military at one time in my own life in the Utah Army National Guard. And so I have at least a little bit of a sense and of an understanding of what we're talking about here today. My number one responsibility as governor is the commander-in-chief of our National Guard. And there's never more a humbling time when I review the troops, which we do on an annual basis, and see those 7,000 or 8,000 troops in formation saluting me as I review the troops and recognizing that these young men and young women stand for everything that's good and right in America. I can tell you that's very humbling for me as somebody who served in the military and now is, by an improbable set of circumstances, now their commander-in-chief. So I want you to know that. Number two, I know you've heard a lot of things about patriotism and the need to be involved and keep the flame alive for freedom and liberty, a traditional kind of patriotic speech. I'm going to change it just a little bit, if I could, to you today. We're assembled here in this great hall. This is our Capitol building. And as you look, you'll see that it is very large. It's very magnificent. It's very big. We have statuary here that represents different facets of our community, of what we would like to strive for in this great state. We have murals on the walls that kind of represent the history of the state and how we've come together. Most of it having to do with the pioneer heritage, as people came here and out of a very arid desert climate created a great community. The phrase that they used at the time was, we're going to come out here in the west and we're going to make the desert blossom as a rose. These pioneers of great fortitude, individual responsibility, people who recognized that if we rolled up our sleeves and worked together, we could accomplish great things. And the results are that my family sees the great benefits of those who have gone before. Now, 100 years ago, almost to the day, a group of people here in Utah, we became a state in 1896. They got together in the early 1900s, about 1904, 1906, and talked about we need to build us a Capitol building like other states have. Now, mind you, at the time, the population of Utah was about 250,000, 270,000 people. Not very large. There weren't a lot of us. But they said, we need to build something very big, very magnificent, something that is extremely significant. And the people of the time were saying, why? Why do we need to have that kind of a big building like this? I'm here to tell you, we have people come from all over the country and tour this and stop by and say, Gary, this is one of the most beautiful Capitol buildings in all of America. And I believe it to be not only one of the most beautiful, it's one of the biggest. But the response given to those who had some vision 100 years ago was, we need to build something magnificent, significant, large, and beautiful, because it's not what we are today, but it's what we want to become tomorrow. And if we build something that's this expansive and large, we will grow into it. We will become a state that fits this kind of size and magnitude. Now, those were people that had great vision. They were pioneers in their own right. I would say to all of us here today that in some form or fashion, you're pioneering. As George goes around the country, he is pioneering. He's blazing the trail for some vision he's got that's going to help us become better than we are today, more responsive to the needs of freedom and liberty, and understanding those principles that we fight and die for, and for those of us who are here today, that we live for. That's maybe a tougher issue. Can you live for these principles? Can you make sure that we stand tall for our Constitution, those principles that have made America great, and in my case, I believe making Utah great? Well, listen, all of us should be pioneers. I hope we have the vision, like those who said 100 years ago, we're going to build something that's maybe big and magnificent. Not what we are today, but what we can become. And then the second part of that, do we have the courage to, in fact, implement the vision? That's a tough challenge. We can dream, but can you, in fact, go out there, roll up your sleeves, get other people engaged, and, in fact, implement the vision with some courage? Well, I believe we can. You are families that represent vision and extreme courage. We will follow your lead. We'll use you as an example. We'll use you as the motivation to do great and big and significant things as we go forward. So we pay tribute to you and your families. You Gold Star families, we can't thank you enough for the sacrifice that you've given to our communities, to our state, to our nation, and really to the world, and promoting freedom and liberty for all. And I would to God that that happens, that we do have that eventually occur in our world, which is a great vision, long-term, magnificent, and significant as it is. So thank you. I'm honored to be with you today. Congratulations, and God bless you all.